Hi, I'm Amhed, and I've been a software developer for 20 years, and up until recently, a tech lead at Coinbase Wallet. Along with my co-founders, Gabriela, who's a former legal counsel for one of my country's largest regulatory bodies, and Joel, who's still a managing partner at Placeholder, I'm presenting Digito. And Latin America needs crypto bad. But crypto is mainly only used by crypto wizards, speculators, or in the specific case of countries with runaway inflation as an actual flight to safety. Those are outliers. There's an enormous opportunity for mainstream adoption, and we believe we have the best strategy for making that happen. In short details, why that doesn't happen today. One, regulators are very afraid of scams. Even without crypto, LATAM has a very high fraud rate for online transactions. Two, crypto regulation hasn't really caught up in most countries, with a few exceptions. And three, Latin America still runs on paper. And when I mean it runs on paper, I really mean that. In contrast with the US, legal digital signatures require expensive, highly regulated KYC public key infra that nobody uses. This is a bit of a joke, but it's not far off. Most businesses will ask you to print a contract, sign and stamp it, and then take a picture with your phone to validate. So if we can't even have completely digital transactions, it's going to be really hard to have actual crypto. So here's our take. We're going to take digital. We're going to allow folks to digitally sign real-world documents and on-chain transactions at the same time. Our users will have self-custody wallets and use the blockchain without knowing it, using the same private key. Digital signatures in most of LATAM follow a regulation called IDAS. It's a European regulation which oversees KYC issuance and custody of private keys for legally binding document signatures. We want to leverage that same regulation and also provide a crypto wallet and a custom Ethereum L2 network. The result is an identity wallet and network that is both IDAS compliant and interoperable with the broader ecosystem. So how are we building this? Digito is about to become the first IDAS digital identity and qualified e-signature provider built for mass scale. We've invested over $1 million setting up the regulated infrastructure and expect to receive our first license for the Dominican Republic in Q1 2024. We're entering the market solving a real-world problem for the TradFi sector: online verification, digital signatures, and TradFi payments with outstanding fraud protection, capturing users in the process. This will serve as the basis for launching the Digito wallet and network to connect the financial services industry across the region later on. We're doing an initial launch here in the Dominican Republic, where the team is based. We're in the process of creating subsidiaries and acquiring licenses in Panama, Colombia, and Mexico. We're still early, but we've built a solid foundation that we can scale throughout the region quickly. We're not fundraising yet. We want to get to know people and jam on the product. We want to get feedback on the roadmap, what might not work, as well as intros to builder communities in any of the previously mentioned countries. We're very excited to chat with all of you.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Let's go straight into it. First question, what about Latin America makes it a good fit for this product and excites you most as a market?
What excites us most is that we have actual financial entities here in the Dominican Republic knocking at our door saying there is regulation for signing electronically and consumers don't have access to it because most transactions are, let's say, less than $100. And in order for them just to acquire the signature, they have to pay around $30 to the only local providers and go through a long process of onboarding. We want to onboard completely online. We want to onboard using online KYC and proof of life, and then give users their signature for free. And then we want it's a B2B2C play where we're saving money for the folks at the financial services companies, and then we're capturing the users that will eventually become part of the network. So we have actual customers asking us, when is this launching? Please launch it. That's what we think is exciting.
Right. And as a follow-up to that, someone asked, what sorts of businesses do you imagine will be early adopters of this? Sounds like you already have some, so I'm curious what categories they're in.
All bond issuers in the country that have to renovate short-term securities usually have to print a bunch of papers and send them over with a guy in a motorcycle. so that they get signed. So those are our first customers. And those are our continued customers because we will then later help them modernize their infrastructure so that they don't have to save up all of these documents. And we can provide back office software that will get stored in the blockchain and will eventually expose them to, oh, this actually runs in a node. You want to run a node as well. And then later on, our long-term plan is that the moment we can tokenize a bond, we can tokenize a 1 peso bond, and that bond becomes a stablecoin. Because for the regulator, it's a bond that we've been signing for over a year, and you've blessed because it follows with all of the regulations. But the bond is also an ERC20 that can be traded by anyone within the Digito network, which is already permissioned on KYC. And then from that point on, you have peer-to-peer payments, you have yield-bearing instruments like Circle or DAI does. And then after that, you can bridge over to the rest of Web3 and this wonderful world of decentralization.
What are the hurdles you imagine having to cross when signing real-world or physical documents, both educational and technical?
That's a great question that I don't have a great answer for right now. And it's better for our co-founder, Gabby. Whoever asked that question, please send it over so that we can talk on it. Mostly focus on the digital aspect. But we're pretty sure that with our background in building great UX before, we can build something that's much better than the existing competitors that are very corporate focused and not end consumer, easy, open an app, 3 clicks, done way of doing things.
We have time for one more question. It's, how do you plan to onboard and retain end consumer users to the app?
We're the only provider that's giving you signatures for free. And as long as, the Digito IV can delegate the authorization to your favorite OAuth provider like Google or Twitter or Microsoft. And after you're logged in, it's then easier to prove that you're an actual human being to anyone that requires that. So if we grow enough, the actual financial services that are currently hurting because there's a lot of fraud in Latin America will reach out. Hey, I want assurance. I want to lower the amount of people that are trying to game my system. I mean, that's the overall strategy.
Right. Thanks so much, Amhed.